What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Cosmic Wonder, where we talk all things Marvel and MCU. I'm your host, Warren Thompson, and Sony seems to be switching things up yet again with their Spider-Verse. Now, Sony has been kind of all over the place recently. They had some success with Venom and Venom Let There Be Carnage, and Spider-Man No Way Home was one of the greatest movies of all time, both in the fans' eyes and at the box office. And it pretty much came out still during a pandemic. But then they go and they make something like Morbius. Now, Morbius has mixed reviews, but overall it wasn't a total and complete train wreck, although most of the fan base did not really like the movie. Sony teased Spider-Man being in the film, and it never really happened except for in that post-credit scene where Michael Keaton's Vulture briefly mentioned Spider-Man. But despite how Morbius performed and whether you liked it or not, the post-credit scene set up some kind of hope, despite it being kind of confusing. But it gave us hope that Sony kind of had a plan for Spider-Man and the rest of this Sony universe that they're building. And although Sony might actually have a plan with their Spider-Man universe, I am worried about it because it seems to be changing constantly. And today we even have a new report from an actress that is from the Kraven the Hunter movie, talking about how Kraven the Hunter is going to be a different Marvel movie from Sony. Is this bad? Is this good? We'll talk about it in this video and talk about what Sony has up and coming. So if you love Spider-Man and you're interested to see where this universe goes, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the latest videos. Now, I will say I am worried about what direction Sony is going to go, but at the same time, this universe does have a lot of potential, and Kraven the Hunter has the potential to be a pretty good movie. And let's go ahead and start off by talking about this recent report that tells us that Kraven the Hunter is already starting to go in a different direction than a normal Sony Marvel film. Recently, Deadline sat down with actress Ariana DeBose, who was recently cast as the villain Calypso in Kraven the Hunter. And in this interview with Deadline, she talks about how this movie differs from the past Sony Marvel movies. They actually just say Marvel movies, not specifically Sony Marvel movies, so we can kind of just throw all Marvel movies in there. However, of course, we're mainly concerned with the Spider-Verse. But this is what she had to say about the movie in the interview. In the interview, Deadline asked her, "How is the Kraven the Hunter movie going?" She said, "It's cool, it's going well. I mean, for as much as I believe I'm allowed to say about it, I think it's going swimmingly," which then Deadline asked, "It's exciting that Marvel seems to be really pushing for change." Now, before I talk about what she said in response to this, I do find it rather odd that they're talking about Marvel generally here, when most fans know that Sony Marvel and the Marvel Cinematic Universe are completely different. Two completely separate things. Marvel doesn't have that much pull with the Sony movies, although they do consult with Kevin Feige. But that does not mean they listen to him. So we know that there are Sony Marvel movies and regular MCU Marvel movies. But in response to Deadline saying that Marvel seems to be really pushing for change, DeBose said, "Yeah, I'm proud of them. I think all of these franchise pieces, it's all about your growth. And it's exciting to be a part of something that feels like it's taking a step in a different direction. I feel like they're just allowing this to live in whatever world it needs to live in, which is kind of cool. I don't like work experiences. I'm asked to fit a box because my job is to discover the box and to define the box. That's my job, in my opinion." I mean, it is 2022. So she already says in this interview that this movie feels like it's taking a step in a different direction than the normal, I'm gonna say, Sony Marvel movies. And the Sony Marvel movies are already in a different direction than the regular Marvel movies, so it's all just kind of getting different now, and it makes you wonder, how exactly is this going to be different, and is that going to be good or bad? Here's the thing, Sony actually does have the ability to make a good Marvel movie. However, right now it just seems like they kind of lack direction for their own universe. They don't quite understand what they want it to be yet. They have Spider-Man, who is a massive success, but they share Tom Holland's Spider-Man with Disney and Marvel Studios. And although we don't know the actual contract between Disney and Sony, most of us believe that Sony can't really use Tom Holland's Spider-Man in their own Spider-Man universe. Tom Holland's Spider-Man is strictly meant for the MCU. This is why, originally, when the Morbius trailer came out, we saw a picture of Spider-Man on the wall, but it wasn't Tom Holland's Spider-Man. And this is where we can talk about kind of the lack of direction here. It seemed like Sony did have plans to introduce a Spider-Man in Morbius. They teased us with that photo, but then they took it out. That was not in the movie at all. And this came right after the success of Spider-Man No Way Home, where they brought back Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire. And after a few weeks of the movie being out and having massive success, all of the insiders started to come out and report that Sony Sony is thinking about bringing Tobey Maguire back for other projects and Andrew Garfield back for other projects as well. Now, this is exciting, but it also kind of complicates things even further, because now it looks like there are indeed going to be two separate Spider-Mans, whether that's Andrew Garfield in Sony and Tom Holland in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, or Tobey Maguire at Sony, or both of them. It seems like there's going to be a clear distinction between the MCU Spider-Man and Sony Spider-Man, and the key point for this is the post-credit scene for Venom Let There Be Carnage, and then the post-credit scene for Spider-Man No Way Home. The post-credit scene for Venom Let There Be Carnage teased us with a Tom Hardy Venom crossover with Tom Holland's Spider-Man. Finally, a Venom versus Spider-Man film, and people love Tom Hardy as Venom and people love Tom Holland as Spider-Man. So this was really exciting. However, they kind of played us here, because in the post-credits of Spider-Man No Way Home, they instantly took back Tom Hardy's Venom to the Sony universe. However, they left a part of the Venom symbiote in the MCU, showing us that yes, there is going to be a Venom in the MCU, but it is not going to be Tom Hardy's. However, at the same time, Tom Hardy has expressed that Venom 3 is going to be, if he has any say in it, a Venom versus Spider-Man film. Therefore, there's going to be another Spider-Man. So again, it looks like Sony might have changed their mind as something new came up. Maybe there was going to be a Tom Hardy Venom and Tom Holland Spider-Man crossover, but then Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire came on board for Spider-Man No Way Home, and they took that as an opportunity to maybe have their own Spider-Man. Now here's the deal. This is actually fine. This can be pulled off in a very good way. If Spider-Man No Way Home showed us anything, it's that the Spider-Man can interact with each other. And the multiverse is real, and that includes the Sony universe. That's a part of the multiverse. So Sony can actually have their own Spider-Man and bring Andrew Garfield back and Tobey Maguire back and have them in the same movie again or separate movies. It doesn't actually matter. The only thing that actually matters is the direction that they want to take everything and how connected they want to make the whole universe. Because the Morbius post-credit scene mentioned Spider-Man, then they took it out, but then when it released again, they put it back in. This once again shows us that Sony is kind of on the fence about what they want to do. And then they announce a movie about El Muerto, such a small character, and they cast Bad Bunny to play him. This is an odd choice. And then we hear that the Kraven the Hunter movie is going to be very different than anything we've seen before from Marvel. And this is very scary and it's concerning. But I think Sony does have the ability, if they get really focused and get a really good idea on what they want this universe to be, to actually make a really good universe that can cross over with Tom Holland's Spider-Man. And the three Spider-Man can be in the same film again. Hopefully Kraven the Hunter is different in a very good way. Hopefully Sony has realized that they need to take a different direction with these one-off movies they're doing and also get some continuity in their universe, because we haven't heard really anything about Spider-Man being in the Kraven the Hunter movie. But Madam Web is also coming up in 2023, and that has huge multiversal connections, where again they could bring back Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire, and Tom Holland in the same movie. They could even introduce new Spider-Man in the film, like Miles Morales or Spider-Man 2099. There's also a Spider-Woman movie that is coming up not too long from now, and this has a lot of potential as well. So everything is there. They have the potential to make a really good universe and make really good movies inside of this universe. And there's potential for huge crossovers here. It's just a matter of if Sony can nail it or not. And I truly hope they do, but let me know what you think about all of this in the comments down below. Do you think Sony's going in the right direction, or do you think they need a reboot with the universe entirely? Let me know your thoughts down below. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe so you don't miss out on any future Marvel videos. For live updates, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter. And as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.